So the Western Conference Finals, we got the Spurs and the Warriors. Warriors took game one. Spurs look like they're on their way to victory with a 25-point lead at halftime. How do you guys see the rest of the series playing out? And with Kawhi out, how does that affect the series?
It's real tough because it's tough for not just the Spurs, but any team in this playoffs that has played the Warriors. It has been tough because the Warriors have gone 3 straight injury breaks. 3. In the Portland series, not that it would have gone even 6 games, but Yusuf Nurkic, the best big man, who was pivotal in them making the playoffs,
Exactly.
he was the reason they made the playoffs. He was out, except I think for one game. I think he played one game, 20 minutes or something. Then, in the Jazz series, again, probably wouldn't have been competitive regardless. George Hill, the starting point guard, one of their big off-season acquisitions, is injured the whole series. He doesn't even play one game. And now in game 1 in the conference finals, the other team's best player, the second best player in the entire planet, goes out. And yeah, they still have LaMarcus Aldridge, and he would probably, in my opinion, he would have to average 35 and grab 13 rebounds a game in order for these Spurs to even be competitive, in my opinion. But I have counted Greg Popovich out year after year after year and year after year, except obviously for last year when they lost to Oklahoma City in 6 games. He has proven me wrong. And he came back, and I'm a Heat fan, he came back and beat us in 5 games in the finals in 2014. When I thought, man, these Spurs can't play, made me cry. I'm never going to discredit or doubt Popovich, so I will give the Spurs team 1 game at home. Just because Greg Popovich is so great, and this Spurs supporting cast has proven to step up and rise to the occasion. I feel like just because of that, and if LaMarcus Aldridge averages 30, I feel like they can win 1 game. But the Warriors wind up with a 12-1 record in the Western Conference. Now, if Kawhi comes back, I still think the Warriors win in 5 games. Just because this Warriors team is the most stacked team in the history of basketball. Probably. Unless you count the 60s or something like that. Like the Celtics way back then. So I just feel like these guys they're just too stacked. They're too good. If you have Clay and Steph have bad nights, you will still have Kevin Durant and you will still have Draymond Green have great nights. So it's you can't stop 3 guys and then keep a 4th guy out of rhythm. You can't do that unless you have four of the NBA's defensive first team on your team. You can't do that. So I feel like with or without Kawhi, I'll give the Spurs team 1 game, and I'll give it to them in game 3. And I really hope Greg Popovich doesn't make me look like a fool again, because I will look like a fool if they win, because right now I'm counting them out completely except giving them 1 game. So yeah, I think they'll win. I think the Warriors in 5, with or without Kawhi.
I see the Warriors winning this in a sweep.
Yeah. You can say that too. That's tough.
You might. And look, I've crowded Greg Popovich out before too, but I've also seen him lose.
He's lost. Against your Clipper team. He lost in Game 7.
He lost in Game 7. When this team is so laser focused, you cannot beat them. And it doesn't matter if here's the thing. Kawhi went. He's not close to the end of the game. Well, here's the thing. At that time, they were focused. At that time, it's literally 3rd quarter. They're focused. If it's the start of the game, Kawhi goes out. You think that it's going to be that damn close? Hell no. And that's a straight.
But
fact.
You know what?
That's a straight.
That game also, LaMarcus Aldridge had 28 points, but at the end of the game, this guy let Draymond Green bully him. He let him push him out of the pinch post where he likes to catch it, and I feel like that was a huge factor when it was supposed to be a dynamic duo. It was supposed to be Kawhi and Aldridge, right? But then when one of them goes out, they have a 25-point lead. You can still throw it down to Aldridge. He was All-NBA for like 3 years, I think. And you could still hold them off. Like, that team is still good enough to hold a 15-point lead. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have come back. But Aldridge, despite having 28, in the fourth quarter, this guy choked. He didn't want the ball. He was like Manu Ginobili had to score. DeJounte Murray had to score. Kyle Anderson had to come in with a lucky tip back at the end of the third quarter. Like, all this had to happen for it to be just to stop the freight train of the Warriors' comeback. So I feel like that game in particular, just because Aldridge played so terribly, which is another reason why I'm doubting this team, but yeah, I feel like that was a big factor in game one.
Let's put this in perspective. You're asking the Spurs to win one game, whether it be at home or on the road. Think about the last time.
We're not winning in Golden State. Not without Kawhi.
Okay, and Steph Turner. Think about the last time that it was Golden State versus the Spurs. That goes back to shades of 2013. Spurs won a series in 6. That's when the Warriors were still young. You're asking the Spurs to win one game. And literally, remember how you said the Spurs still good enough to hold a 25-point lead? I'm be real with you. I've seen this team come back on so many people being down 30, 25, 21. They came back on the Clippers, the Pelicans in the game 4, and it was a closeout game. They literally, no matter what way, this team has so many shooters, has so many ways to score, has so many ways.
But not against Greg Popovich's defense. But I feel like because Aldridge didn't play well, that was a huge reason why they came back, because he didn't want the ball.
That's what's going to happen. He's not going to play well. He's not. After that game 1,
which is why I say if he averages 35 and 12 rebounds, they will win one game. One game. Not 4, not 3, not 2, 1.
Literally, if you saying that, you asking for LaMarcus Aldridge from Portland. That man left. You asking that LaMarcus Aldridge in that system. That whole system.
What happened last year? Oklahoma City, first 2 games. What happened? What happened in the first 2 games of Oklahoma City?
The first two.
You remember that?
The first 2 games they played really, really well. And
so he can still play, is what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. He can still play. He can still get you buckets, just like he did in Game 6 in Houston. Like, he was the guy. But last game when Kawhi went out, he didn't want the ball. But if he wants the ball, I feel like that game they can sustain that lead and they can win one game at home and the rest they lose mercifully.
Do not try to discredit Draymond Green. Draymond Green literally is one of the... And look, people always be like, oh, he's a defensive player. It's not more that. It's more he will make you so uncomfortable when he's guarding you. He's like one of them players that literally, they are so testy. They're going to hold you when the ref is not looking. They're going to slap your arm when you're trying to get they're literally going to do everything in your power to make you uncomfortable. He's that type of player. That's the reason why LaMarcus Aldridge will not average more than 30 in this series, because Draymond Green will make it uncomfortable. You're asking Patty Mills to literally take the role of Tony Parker. Understand that Patty Mills can score, but literally, if you're talking about you guarding Stephen Curry and you're shorter than...
Man, it's not like Tony could guard anybody either. For the past 6 years, Tony couldn't guard a pylon. He probably can't guard me. That's how bad Tony's been in the past few years defensively.
Patty Mills. He's a better player than Patty Mills.
Well, no duh. But I'm talking about. So you're asking Tony to save the day. You're asking Tony to save the day.
If you got Tony Parker, a healthy Tony Parker in that game when Kawhi goes out, you'll probably still choke that lead, but still. That's better than having Patty Mills, and then your backup is DeMonte Murray, literally a second-year player.
So you would rather just Tony than just LaMarcus without Leonard.
Either way, you're still losing. So
No.
there's no either way. Either way, you're still losing.
Yeah.
You're still losing.